locker room. So what do you think, or do you feel like people sometimes just like overlook your leadership specifically and your impact on the team from like a chemistry standpoint, because there's just so many narratives? So like, do you think people are overlooking that?
She made the All-W first team. I don't think anyone's overlooking what Kelsey Mitchell did this year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think anyone is.
Okay, this is wild. Kelsey Mitchell just went on Sue Bird's podcast and basically confirmed what everyone's been whispering about for months. And here's the thing. She didn't just talk about what it's like playing alongside Caitlin Clark. She admitted she actually had to sit down with the Fever organization because things weren't clicking the way they were supposed to. But here's the real bombshells, what she said about Caitlin herself. That's where everything gets complicated. When you really listen to Kelsey's words, it becomes clear there's a much bigger issue brewing inside that locker room, one that no one in Indiana seems willing to address. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why what Mitchell revealed could be the turning point for the entire franchise, for better or for worse.
Because there's just so many narratives. So like, do you think people are overlooking that?
I think that in a short, yeah. I think naturally, yes, because of the society, the social media, and how bad, people take the social media and abuse it in the wrong realm of light. And so I think that's one part of it. But I also think that it was an adjustment period. And I talked to, the Fever organization about this. It's like, I think it was an adjustment period that, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization.
Did you catch that part? Role-playing that had to be situated? That's corporate speak for Dow. We had no idea what we were doing. The Fever had 5 months to prepare for the arrival of the biggest star in women's basketball history, and somehow they still weren't ready. Think about that. Half a year of knowing Caitlin Clark was coming, and Kelsey's sitting there admitting that players, coaches, trainers, the entire organization, had to scramble to figure things out once she arrived. But here's what most people are missing. Kelsey isn't just talking about logistics or on-court adjustments. She's talking about something much deeper. Listen to how carefully she chooses her words in what comes next. Because that's where the real tension starts to bubble to the surface.
That, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization.
That actually sounds like she said she had to talk to the organization about it. So I would say, like, they did not prepare for Caitlin Clark. From an organizational level, they didn't prepare for Caitlin Clark. They knew they were getting Caitlin Clark for literally 5 months before a draft.
He never was bigger than a program. Most people took that as a compliment. But let's unpack what it actually means. When someone says a superstar wasn't trying to take over, what they're really implying is that she didn't assert herself the way great players do. Look at every true dynasty in basketball history. Jordan didn't stop to wonder if he was bigger than the Bulls. LeBron didn't hesitate to take control in Miami. Kobe demanded that the Lakers build around him. That's not ego, that's leadership. And what Kelsey just revealed is that Caitlin came in trying to fit into the Fever's system instead of forcing the organization to elevate to her level. On the surface, that sounds admirable, even humble. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That mindset might actually be part of the problem no one wants to talk about.
Basically saying Caitlin was soft. Basically, she never put her foot down and tried to override. That's what I'm thinking she going into, but I could be wrong.
It wasn't, I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is. She comes in. She's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
She wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like within our locker room, she wasn't trying to be big.
She should have been, bruh. She should have been.
Bigger than anyone else. And
Hold up. Did Kelsey just call Caitlin soft? Because that's exactly what it sounds like. Saying she wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody isn't praise when you're talking about a generational talent. It's criticism wrapped in politeness. You can hear it in Kelsey's tone every time she stresses that Caitlin fit into the team and understood chemistry. Translation, she didn't demand the ball, didn't make the offense run through her, didn't take command. She played nice instead of taking charge. Now, compare that to what we saw after the Olympic break, when Caitlin and Kelsey finally clicked. Suddenly, the Fever were putting up over 100 points a night. Kelsey was dropping 24, Caitlin was racking up 20 and 12 assists, and they looked like the most electric backcourt the WNBA had ever seen. So the question is, what changed? And there
Sense, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. You know, it wasn't. I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is. She comes in. She's going to obviously do her part because that's what being a professional athlete is. But with the understanding of fitting into a team, making sure we fit, making sure we have chemistry. So it's never bigger than like the group
it's like
itself.
she wasn't trying to be bigger than everybody. Like,
See, because she know Caitlyn is comfortable with who she is. She knows she the biggest thing moving and smoking. Like, she don't have to come be arrogant. She's not an arrogant person. So she's not gonna be that way with you guys. But y'all need to play y'all.
And there it is. She kept the program. The program. Notice how Kelsey keeps repeating that word, not team, not family, program. Like Caitlin was stepping into some long-standing system she needed to honor. But let's be real, the Fever were awful before Caitlin arrived. They hadn't sniffed the playoffs in years. Kelsey had been there 7 seasons without getting past the first round. So what program was there to protect? This is classic veteran psychology. When a new superstar shows up, some players start to feel threatened. They disguise insecurity as tradition, humility as virtue. What they really mean is, know your place. And the wild part is, Caitlin actually did. She deferred, she distributed, she lifted everyone else instead of demanding they elevate her. But that's exactly the problem. And it leads to the massive elephant in the room that's quietly tearing this partnership apart before it ever reaches its full potential.
I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
No, it very much makes sense. And you know what? Like, she wasn't even asked about Caitlin Clark. And like, there's no matter what, I mean this when I say this. No matter what happens, even if I don't think Kelsey Mitchell wants to leave. It's gonna take, these two have had 10 games together in a system where they were able to run, both of them were able to play, and they were both healthy. They have had 10.
See what just happened there? Kelsey praised Caitlin for staying passionate even when she wasn't playing or dealing with injury. But think about why that even needed to be said. The subtext is brutal. Caitlin had to prove. She could stay locked in when she wasn't the focal point, when the offense didn't run through her, when Kelsey was jacking up contested long twos instead of passing. Caitlin passed that test, and Kelsey respects her for it, but that's exactly what makes this situation so tense. Because here's what's really eating away at the Fever from the inside. When Stephanie White took over, she made it clear that Kelsey Mitchell was her #1 priority, not Caitlin Clark, the generational star who transformed the entire league, sells out arenas, and brings in millions of new fans. Instead, the focus went to the veteran. Solid, yes, but never elite. And that choice has quietly driven a wedge through the team, one that's now on the verge of blowing up.
Her power too much, and you got to respect that. But now we have gotten to a point, truthfully, Kelsey, and I rock with Kelsey. Kelsey's a killer. You know what I mean? Obviously, we got a little crazy with Kelsey because there was a certain point in time, beginning of the season last year, she wasn't passing. But post-Olympic break, she was great. We got on her once her sister started making comments online and doing all that. She was doing too much. You got her under control. Cool. But I think now we are at a point where Caitlin does need to start doing some of the things you said she don't do, like asserting her power. She needs to start.
You're like my little sister. Did you catch that shift? That's not just affection, that's hierarchy. It's big sister, little sister, veteran and rookie. The one who's been here versus the one who still has to learn. Except here's the problem. Caitlin Clark isn't just any rookie. She's the most decorated player to ever enter the WNBA. She shattered every meaningful college record. She's already better than Kelsey will ever be. And deep down, everyone in that locker room knows it. But the Fever's entire structure is built on pretending that isn't true. And that's where the dysfunction starts. Because when you have a transcendent talent, you don't force her to adapt to your system. You rebuild the system around her. Golden State didn't tell Steph Curry to fit into Mark Jackson's offense. They brought in Steve Kerr and changed basketball forever. The Lakers didn't ask Kobe to respect the veterans. They moved on from Shaq and handed him the keys. But the Fever? They're trying to have it both ways, to protect the old hierarchy while cashing in on Caitlyn's superstardom. And that's a formula that never works.
I'm feeling this.
You talk about a kid in the candy store, that's Caitlyn.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
Guys,
Now,
in your
going
locker
back to what I was saying in the beginning, man, with the media, and Kelsey Mitchell be sneak dissing, bro. That was kind of a sneak diss, because you would think she basically letting us know, like, you would think Caitlin Clark is not bigger than the system. Caitlin Clark just come in and play her role. Caitlin Clark need to go there and be the LeBron, be Michael Jordan, be Kobe, aggressive, give me the ball. She's claiming basically so many words. Caitlin ain't doing.
Now here's where things really get complicated, because Kelsey isn't wrong about everything. She's absolutely right that Caitlyn needs to be more assertive. But the real question is, why? Caitlyn isn't being assertive. And it's not because she's soft or unprepared or lacks killer instinct. It's because she's stuck in an impossible situation. Think about what actually happened this season. Caitlyn played hurt basically from day one, grinding through pain because the team needed her on the floor. Meanwhile, Stephanie White is running an offense that completely fails to maximize her strengths. Kelsey's getting the shots that should be Caitlyn's. And the entire system is built to keep the veteran comfortable rather than make the superstar unstoppable. And when Caitlyn does try to take over, she gets labeled selfish or accused of not being a team player, so she pulls back, tries to fit in, and then gets called soft for not being aggressive enough. It's a no-win setup, a system designed to protect egos, not elevate talent. And the worst part? The only person paying the price for it is the one who's actually capable of changing everything.
because she likes to talk about
She plays a
basketball
lot.
and kind of troll a little bit.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly.
You talk about a kid in the candy store, that's Caitlyn.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
And that's one of the things you can see. These two players, no matter what you think about them, and look, I will question the fit. I'm going to question the fit. I'm going to question the way the system that Stephanie.
And here's the thing. Even the people defending Kelsey admit the fit is questionable. You hear them say, "We can all have our opinions," or "We'll see how it plays out." Translation: nobody actually knows if this partnership works long term. They're hoping. They're guessing. They're crossing their fingers that chemistry just magically appears. But hope isn't a strategy. And here's the truth Indiana doesn't want to face. Kelsey Mitchell is a talented scorer, but she doesn't complement Caitlin Clark's game. Kelsey thrives in isolation. She needs the ball in her hands to be effective. Caitlin, on the other hand, is a generational playmaker, at her best when the entire offense runs through her. Those two styles can mesh for stretches, like we saw after the Olympic break last season. But when the stakes rise and the pressure's on, one of them has to take control, and Stephanie White has already made her choice. She's building around Kelsey, which leaves Caitlin Clark, the biggest star the league has ever seen, trapped in a system where she's the best player on the team, but not allowed to play like it.
Her power right then and there. No question about it.
She gave us her best when she was in the locker room.
Yeah, the time I've spent with Caitlin, she definitely has oh, you're like my little sister.
Yes.
Because she likes to talk about
She plays a
basketball
lot.
and kind of troll a little bit.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly.
You talk about a kid in the candy store, that's Caitlyn.
Yep.
Tutu, she is, but in a good way. She's a live light. And she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
So you see Kelsey Mitchell.
She should have been bigger than everybody. Finally, someone said it. That's the heart of what's holding the Fever back. Caitlin Clark should walk into that locker room knowing she is the franchise. She should demand the ball in crunch time, insist that the offense be built around her strengths, not around Kelsey's comfort zone. But she doesn't. And the organization enables that passivity because it's easier than confronting the veterans and reshaping the hierarchy. This is the kind of moment that defines careers. Michael Jordan had to push out his friends to win championships. LeBron James had to leave Cleveland to become his fullest self. Kobe Bryant had to embrace being the villain to build his legacy. Every transcendent player eventually faces that same decision. Do you want to be liked, or do you want to be great? And that's exactly where Caitlin Clark is standing right now, at the crossroads between acceptance and dominance. The question isn't about talent anymore. It's about whether she has the ruthlessness to make the choice every true superstar eventually has to make.
Season. And they're hovering around 500. Then you can start to question things. If they're hovering around 500 coming into the All-Star break, I know they were this year as well, but then you can start to question things. You can see, we can talk about the coaches, we can talk about the fit, we can talk about personnel. But for now, I think Kelsey Mitchell would be dumb not to give it another year. She'd be dumb. She's going to get cored, so it's a 1-year deal anyway.
Here's what makes this whole situation so volatile. Kelsey Mitchell isn't going anywhere. She just signed a 1-year deal, which means she's betting on herself to prove she is the number one option. Stephanie White has already built the system around her. The organization has made its choice. So now Caitlin Clark is staring at 3 options. Option 1. Play the good soldier. Keep deferring to Kelsey. Keep fitting into a system that dulls her edge. Keep hoping things somehow click. It's safe. It leads to a solid career, maybe even some all-star nods, but not greatness. Option 2. Demand change. Go to ownership and tell them Stephanie White's system isn't working. Insist the offense runs through her as it should. Risk being called selfish or difficult. That's the dangerous path. The one that either leads to championships or gets her run out of town. Option 3. Leave. Force a trade. Go somewhere that actually understands what they have. A generational player who can transform a franchise overnight. And honestly, after hearing Kelsey talk about her, like a little sister who needs to learn her place, that third option looks better every day. But here's the part everyone keeps missing. This isn't just about X's and O's. It's not about offensive schemes or shot distribution. It's about respect. Caitlin Clark isn't getting it. Not from Stephanie White, who flat out said Kelsey is the priority. Not from the front office, who had 5 months to prepare for her arrival and still fumbled it. Not even from Kelsey herself, who keeps mistaking Caitlin's unselfishness for inexperience instead of sacrifice. And here's the truth. You can only disrespect greatness for so long before it walks out the door. The WNBA has spent decades praying for a player like Caitlin Clark, someone who sells out arenas, commands national headlines, and makes casual fans actually care. And now that they finally have her, they're treating her like she should be grateful to be here, instead of realizing that every other team in the league would trade their entire roster just to have her.